Okay, so in this tutorial for layout design, we're going to talk about how we kind of resize things and readjust things, and how that works and what that means. So we've got a pretty okay ad here. They didn't give us much body copy to work with, as we can see from our sheet. Not much, only a couple of sentences, things like that. Ordinarily, a lot of this would probably just be, it's not enough for a full page ad, but this is what they want. So we're going to put it together. When you put your layouts together, 100% of the time, expect that there's going to be some changes, unless it's what they call a straight pickup ad, in which case that's typically, it's either minor updates, usually something with time and dates of an offer, or there's no changes at all, in which case you're just picking up a previously run ad and putting it into the new publication. But other than that, you can almost guarantee that there's going to be expectations. And so the way it works is that, we've got a lot of negative space going on around here and here, that the hierarchy that we have going is pretty good, but they will almost always want to fill the space with something. And so the way it works is, if something gets bigger, then that means something else has got to get smaller. And so this is where it becomes really critical that you understand and remember at all times what it is that you're communicating. Grabbing their attention, holding their attention, leading their eye to what it is that we're selling them, who's selling it. So these are the things that they may get smaller so something else can get bigger, or they may get bigger, but then something else has got to get smaller. Image typically will get smaller so that something can get bigger. Body copy will get bigger. If it gets bigger, then something else has got to get smaller to it. But it's that kind of ebb and flow sort of thing. You just got to remember, as something, they say, can we make this bigger? Then something else has got to get smaller in order for it all fit. That's how we make it all fit. Is if something gets bigger, then the rest of it's got to get smaller. So for the sake of argument, we'll say to ourselves that the sales rep has come back and says, hey, they really like this and everything, but they want to know, can we get the phone number and the address line a little bit bigger than what it is? Well, yeah, we sure can. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to kind of scale it really quickly. We'll say we're going to make it that big now. And so, it's bigger now. So that means, of course, my icons for social media have to get a little bit bigger, or rather move out of the way. And I don't know why it's giving me that kind of gradient effect, but it shouldn't. And then, let's see why it's doing that. Could just be the screen display. So that's one way that we can fix this, is that we say to ourselves, okay, and let's scale it even a little bit bigger. Giving it some balance so that it's even with my electrical. And it's still getting a little kind of tight in there. So and this is how it kind of works, is that, now this has got to move up a little bit so that I'm not squeezing into it. Okay. Anything that gets bigger is, going to affect the rest of, my layout. So if something gets bigger, then something else gets smaller, something's got to move out of the way, and so now it's kind of crowding into here a little bit, so I'll scooch it up. And let's modify it so it's from the center. And something else I want to show you guys is that typically with advertising, by default, so we'll click on this for a second. By default, when you're drawing your text boxes, they're going to be flush left. We only really use flush left when we're dealing with magazines, articles, brochures, and things like that. And in advertising, like what this is, we tend to use a center alignment. And we also got to kind of adjust it so we don't have widows and orphans, so that it breaks. So like we don't have width up here, so it breaks nicely and comfortably and reads comfortably. You know, I have bold and italicized free estimates because I want it to stand out in all of that copy. So we're going to take this and we're going to scooch it up just a little bit more so it doesn't crowd our logo a little too much. And then we would do something like this, and we would send this back to the client and see if they like this a little bit better. And they may come back and say, we still have a lot of this negative space. What can we do with all of that? Well, you know, we'll take all this, and there's other ways that we can do it. And it's always going to be, you know, maybe we scooch this over here to the right, and then maybe we take this. Whoops. Scooch it over to the left, and then we bring it into a column, and take that, and I don't know, we're just going to increase the point size of it so it fills this part of it. And we're going to take, I need to see my paragraph for a second. I'm going to turn off the hyphenation of it. And I might insert a soft return so that I've got some space in there. And yeah, now this is another way that we can solve the problem for them, so that we're filling up their negative space. We're going to balance this in that negative space a little bit more. And now we're filling the negative space a lot more. So said in ad design, space is a premium, and sometimes there's a psychological association from clients that they got to fill it with something. And so we may approach it with this, or this is a really kind of a stronger layout that I grab their attention. I can see what's going on with the photo, explains, it's related to the image, it's rather to the headline. It's related to the offer, and then the offer leads me into here, and then it leads me into who's offering this. The phone number gets bigger, website gets bigger, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, and that's how we tweak that those layouts in our layout design, understanding that, you know, if they ask for something to get bigger, then something else has got to get smaller. If something gets smaller, then that makes it room for something to get bigger, and it's always going to be that ebb and flow. So that's how we do these kind of resizings and in layout design.